on the first day, which, by the way, I think Guy on the Human Collective really wanted us to go because it was so supportive. Like how Ileana's schedule freed up, Ashley's like got the RV, no problem. Like all of these things were just so smooth. So by the time we are leaving our area, the Olympic Peninsula, we're going down this beautiful route, and all the trees were like perfect fall colors. It was so gorgeous. And then hard stop. Like the highway is shut down. Like no one's moving for at least an hour.
And
at that time, our code name on the walkie-talkie was Slow Cougar. Cougar is the name of the brand of RV that we own. So we're like, what's our code name? Well, we got a Cougar. We'll be Slow Cougar because we were slow. And then we're stopped at this highway, literally no one moving. And we're like, I think we need to change our code name.
Welcome to Driving to the Res with your favorite hosts, Ashley, Ileana, Dr. Chiara, Fred, Adelina, and today we have with us Theodore. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Wow, 1 week in the desert. And this episode is all about finding out everything about your experiences there. So we are so curious how you spent time there, what experiences you had there with Inelia and Larry, with the land and everything that happened in Colorado. And let's see, how did this whole thing start? Who was the initiator? Dr. Chiara.
Yes, that would be me.
I'm pretty sure I was the one who said we should go.
So it begins.
So it begins. Because I said we have a brand new truck and a trailer.
I love how we can have such different realities from, what happened. Okay, so for context, for those of you who are watching, bit of a unique episode today because, 5 mystics end up going to Colorado. How does that happen? What made us go there? Why did we go? So here's the thing. About a month ago, Larry and Inelia said they were going to make a quick trip to Colorado because they had some financial and legal affairs they had to take care of regarding their property that they had there. And I don't know about you all, looks at Ashley and Ileana, but I was like, I don't know if they're going to be coming back anytime soon, right?
I didn't believe it for an instant. I was like, they're going to be gone forever.
Yeah. For a while.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yep.
And
we all felt that.
We all felt that. And, it's not exactly a quick trip. They have to drive because they have to take their RV with them. Their, what do you call it? What's an RV stand for? Recreational vehicle. And
travel trailer.
And live in the desert, with your amenities that you have in your RV. So at the time, right when they were getting ready to go, Inelia asked me a question. She said, hey, are you and Fred interested in coming? And this was early October. I think it was end of September. And at the time I was like, ooh, I would love to, but at the time I had just launched a new product. It was like a 2-week sprint. It was very intense. And I'm like, literally, these are the 2 weeks of the year that I can't do it. Like, it's just too much going on. I can't do it. And for context, Fred and I, we were on the market to buy a new truck for like 6 months or something. And then one of the requirements for the new truck was that it had to be able to pull our RV to Colorado. That's ultimately like what made us buy this fancy new truck. So we got the truck, maybe 6 months ago or something. And I think that's also why Inelia prompted, because she also knows that we have a truck and an RV that we could pull and go with them. But at first I declined. I'm like, I can't swing it. There's too much. It was like 18-hour work days, working till midnight, 1 a.m., have to have constant internet access. It wasn't going to happen. But then about what, 2-3 weeks later, they're still there, right? They're still there, and they have all these crazy updates about how they have so much to do. There's all these legal affairs and financial matters they have to do, and they're like, we're gonna stay for a while, and there's this big eviction that has to happen. And
moving of garbage.
yeah. Long story short, they had some people who were illegally staying on the property, and there has to be a certain protocol that's initiated to evict them according to the state laws. And with that, a literal physical moving of all of their property from the premises. So I looked at Fred. I was like, I think it'd be cool if we went and helped out, right? Like, what do you think? Should we go?
I thought I said first, I don't know why we're not going. We got a trailer. And then you were like, oh, well, now that we're going so long, that we can go now. So
interesting. It's so funny how we remember different things.
And then
I remember you saying, oh, yeah, it feels really good. The energy feels really good to go to Colorado. We should go. And I'm like, Fred said yes immediately? What? Oh my gosh. It was amazing.
You have to use our RV. Anyway, and then how did it happen?
We were like, we're going. And well, what's your version of it?
Well, my version was at first it was like you asked, can we put in the back seat Teo and Ashley along with the dog? And I'm like, no. I'm like, no. It's too much. I can't do it. I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know how to do RV. I don't know how to do anything. And it was
too much.
Oh, it's too much. It's like, okay, we'll just go by ourselves. And then
because we have a little like a second bedroom.
We have a second bedroom. It's possible, but it was just like I just felt like it was too much. And then all of a sudden we needed motorcycles and an extra big generator, and I was like, oh, it's okay. But then in the back seat we did have a little bit of room, and then Ileana, I don't know how you said it. You said you wanted to come.
There's more of a story there. Care to share, Ileana, how you jumped on the bandwagon, literally?
Well, yeah. Well, I heard like first when I heard Kara say I'm going and Ash saying I'm going, and I'm like, dang, I can, because I have family visiting, my husband's family, and it took forever to organize that visiting, specifically with them. So like, oh man, I cannot bail now. And then I have also a workshop that I was teaching the weekend that everybody was leaving. And I was trying to figure out, and like, well, maybe I can ditch the family and I can teach on the road, but maybe not. And he was like, yes, no, like, no, I don't want to just risk it, etc. And then, and both Ash and Kara were giving me ideas. What about if you do this? What about if you catch up with us in my van? I drive in my van and then go with them. But I was like, no, it doesn't feel right. Anyways, after the camping of the strange days, well, right before the camping, Mike say, hey, you know what? My sister-in-law broke her arm, so I guess they're not coming, so you can go. And I'm like, oh, like, okay, well, but I still don't have the workshop, so I can't join. It's like, it's just too much thinking about, I don't want to lose connection and then not looking professional or, committed. And I was still thinking. Anyways, after coming back from Strange Days, the camping trip, like I check the workshop, and then we have 2 workshops, one in October and one in December. Well, nobody signed up for October, and people signed up only for December. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, okay, I guess I'm going. But then I treated with my body, like, oh, driving by myself. Like, no, okay, let's ask. So I asked Ash and Kara, like, hey, can I drive with one of you? I can camp with my tent over there. And Kara, oh no, you can just drive with us, and we have an extra little room in our RV, so perfect. I was like, what? Like a princess journey. So it was very, very nice just to be able to join, like, and driving together. That was very different experience than just me caravan with everybody. Yeah.
How about you, Ash and Teo? How did you guys commit and join the caravan?
Well, you had first said like, or you mentioned like you were thinking about going, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. And then we had a Walk With Me Now live call for the month. I think it was end of September, I guess. So for the September call. And Anelia and Larry were at the land and they were talking about the work that they were doing, that like Gaia essentially was like orchestrating them being there and cleaning up the energies of this land. And we're like, oh, I'm thinking like, wow, yeah, that's amazing. And I want to support that. And like, I want to go. It's just like, we got to go. And then afterwards, I can't remember who said it. I think I said it. Maybe you said it, but like, should we go to Colorado? And like, yes, let's do it. And it's funny because I really honestly, I probably wouldn't normally because like I don't usually invite myself to things. Like I needed to be invited, like, you know, like because I like have that cultural upbringing. Like it's rude to invite yourself to something. If I didn't get an invite specifically, then I'm not gonna just like go, right? So there's that element. But I was like, oh, it's Larry and Anelia. They don't care. That's not how they work. You know, like I know them well enough for that. And so that wasn't even an issue, which normally would have been a stopping point. But then the second thing was it's dry camping, right? Like there's no electricity, there's no running water, and you have to be able to figure it out. And I'm like, how would we do this? You know, okay, yeah, we can drive there, we could fly, but driving seems better. And we were looking at Airbnbs, and then you're gone. And Larry's like, yeah, but like you're leaving for the night in the morning. And that's like when we actually get to like spend time together, is like in the evenings and the early morning before we're like doing work or doing all of us like who are working on their jobs, doing their job. So then we thought, okay, we can do an RV, and our vehicle hauls an RV. It can, we just don't have an RV. So I'm like, okay, well, we could rent one nearby. And then that all worked out. And normally, again, I probably would have had a firewall of like, oh, I don't want to spend the money on that, you know. But it didn't even like come up. It was just like, yeah, okay, let's do it. You know, like we sat with it for a couple of days just to make sure like energies are clear. But it pretty much felt like it was a go. Was your experience of it the same?
Well, you asked me, hey, do you want to go to Colorado? And I said, oh, yeah, sure. It was something like this. Like, I was thinking while driving like for, I don't know, 1,400 miles or something like that. Yeah, we can do it in 2 days, maybe. It was more like 3. But yeah, you asked me, and from there, it
worked out.
It worked out, yeah.
Yeah. And then even that, like just getting the RV, and like Teo's driving the car, we're hauling an RV. Like you'd never hauled an RV before. I've never done that before either.
RV.
It was all very much a learning experience, but it felt really supportive the whole way. Like the people we got the RV from were really cool, and like yeah, everything just worked out.
Actually, a lot of first things happened to me, like towing an RV. Then riding a motorcycle, Fred and Cara's motorcycle, working with a bobcat. Yeah, there were some first times for me.
Yeah.
So guys, did you rent the RV before leaving? I mean, while you were still here in Washington or there in Colorado?
Yeah, we rented it before we left, and then we just picked it up in Colorado. It was like maybe 45 minutes away from their land. Mm-hmm. There's like an online site called Outdoorsy that you can rent people's RVs that they're not when they're not using it, type of thing. Mm-hmm. And so worked out well. Yeah.
And were you like driving during the day and sleeping at night? Was it like that you did it, or how was it?
Oh, at night we were tent camping. So wherever we stayed, and we all were driving together basically. Mm-hmm. We had walkie-talkies and code names to boot. So we were Angel Wing, I believe, right? Angel Wings.
Yes.
That was our code name.
Well,
and then
we had a couple. because we realized we had sabotaged ourselves. So just for context, this drive is very far. What's the European equivalent? Like driving from Spain to Poland or something?
Probably.
It's something pretty significant.
Calculated, actually.
Spain to Romania.
Yeah.
No, it's more. It's like
Spain to
more
Romania.
Yeah. it's
Romania,
Spain to Romania.
Spain.
Yeah, it's from Spain to Romania, okay, for context. And, we're hauling this huge,
31-foot travel trailer.
and it's 10,000 pounds or something?
It's
It's a
just-
lot.
It's a lot.
Anyway,
And our truck was getting horrible mileage, like 7.8 miles a gallon,
it was last
which
evening.
Ashley and Taylor were laughing at her, saying, "Oh, we got 22 miles a gallon minimum," until they put a trailer behind it, and all of a sudden they were getting 5 miles a gallon.
But here's the thing. On the first day, which, by the way, I think Gaia and the Human Collective really wanted us to go because it was so supportive. Like how Ileana's schedule freed up. Ashley's got the RV, no problem. Like all of these things were just so smooth. So by the time we are leaving our area, the Olympic Peninsula, we're going down this beautiful route, and all the trees were like perfect fall colors. It was so gorgeous. And then hard stop. Like the highway is shut down. Like no one's moving for at least an hour.
About an hour and a half.
And at that time, our code name on the walkie-talkie was Slow Cougar. Cougar is the name of the brand of RV that we own. So we're like, what's our code name? Well, we got a Cougar. We'll be Slow Cougar because we're slow. And then we're stopped at this highway, literally no one moving. And we're like, I think we need to change our code name.
Yeah, it's like,
And we-
okay, Fast Cougar, please.
Yes, so we changed it to Fast Cougar. And we were checking, we're like, do we have resistances going? Like, we even drew cards on should we change highway routes and go through Seattle? And we actually got no's. So it was cool to use our mystical tools along the way as these blocks happened. But I have to say, our trip sped up a lot when we changed it to Fast Cougar.
Yes.
I always wonder about that too, because we were slowed down to dead stop. I mean, it was power lines were out and a logging truck full of logs got wrapped up in the power line. So it's as bad as it could get to block the roads and how long it's going to take to clear that. And then even after that, we're like, okay, when we got through, okay, we're hungry, and we go stop at a place that's this oyster, I don't know what you guys would call it, but sort of an oyster farm. Anyway, it's pretty cool. But the point is, I was wondering too, is did we miss something? Because it felt like the whole way, as you said, Dr. Caro, is everything was orchestrated by the Human Collective and Gaia to be smooth. So it's all right, well, I guess for whatever reason, we're not supposed to leave the Olympic Peninsula yet. We have to wait several more hours before we can actually proceed for whatever reason that was. No.
Yeah. And every night we had to find a place to stay. So an RV campground. And they're these special types of camping sites that allow you to hook up your RV with water and power and all these things. But we also had to make sure they allowed tent camping too for Ash and Teo. So we kind of had a plan. We knew where we were generally going to stop along the way across our 3-day adventure. But at the same time, it was very much up in the air. And the first time, Fred had driven in long distance, and we had never done RV camping before, at least at the official campsite. So there was a lot of unknowns along the way, but it made it a really fun adventure. We had so much fun along the way.
We had to learn how to use the septic.
We'll get to that story later.
It was going smoothly, but then
to that story later. There's I think a mystical reason behind it too.
Yes, Fred?
You're talking about arriving in Colorado or arriving in the
Yes.
first campground?
Let's see
because
what
it was,
happened when you all arrived there.
well, yeah, it was 3 days of driving. So we had 2 nights of being in these RV campgrounds. And when we finally arrived, it felt like going to the moon. The place looks like the moon. It's all sand. There's no, we went from water and green trees to shorter trees that were brown and fall to no trees but bushes to the moon. It's no nothing. There's nothing. It's
Well, there are things there, but compared to the richness and the life of the rainforest, it's totally a different ecosystem.
Yeah, we
truly.
showed up with black lights, and it's like, look, you can see scorpions on the ground. So we did.
One cool, interesting data point, I think, is we all arrived at exactly the right time. So at one point, Ash and Teo went off to Grand Junction to get their RV and like split from the caravan. And then they came and arrived on Larry and Anelia's property like 5 minutes, or the three of us did.
Or actually after.
Yeah, after 5 minutes after. And it was like perfect timing. And so we all arrived at the same time. It was this awesome like welcome party by Tiny, Larry's dog, and Larry and Anelia. And then it looked like we had entered in a new reality bubble.
But the weird part is going to the land, it's like, okay, you get off the highway and you drive up a gravel road, which is like, we don't know what we're going to see up there. And I thought for some reason that we were going to go straight to see those guys. But we went through, like, there's these abandoned looking, trashy RVs, like on the left and the right. There's maybe like 7 or 8 of them. Yeah, like 6 or 7 little sites, one bigger than others. And it was all this junk, like junk everywhere. And it's
like a junkyard, literally.
And it's like we're driving through that, and then we get to the gate to go up to the road to where Larry and Anelia, and they're like behind all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're behind it up on a higher ground. And this is the lower ground on the road going up to it. And all of that, which was a lot. And it was like, oh yeah, we have to clear up all of this.
And we're like, what?
And we had no idea. It's like, do we have to clear all of this? And there was like a couple dumpsters that the county had put down. And it was like, those 2 dumpsters are not going to fit like all of this stuff. There's so much stuff. And for the next 7 days, I guess, that was
the focus.
That was the focus of what to do with all of this crazy stuff. And it was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some other interesting things that happened along the way. So the first day, actually, no, not even. I think we arrived and Anelia takes us up to the top of this hill so we can see the view. And it was just gorgeous. Like
at sunset.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but imagine like there's no trees. You can just see as far as the eye can see across the horizon. There's like mountains in the background. And it's like a 360 view of just like, you can just see miles and miles and miles away. It was beautiful.
Hills and moonscapes.
And then Anelia said, oh, and this entire mountain is made of crystals. Let's go look. And then we start to just like literally find selenite crystals everywhere, right? Just these amazing, beautiful little things. And that was like...
Our whole RV was filled with Ileana's crystals.
I'm curious, guys, were these crystals like on the sand, in the sand? You were digging a bit. How are
they're right on top of the sand,
like a crust almost.
Yeah.
So
like
and also it was a lot.
I was going to say
it was a lot easier in the mornings.
Yeah, the rain comes and there's a little bit of water and it washes the sand off the top of these crystals, and so they're just sitting on top. They're not like really thick crystals. They're like a crust of a crystal. But then we found some big ones.
We'll get to that part.
Yeah.
So you said rain. So it's a rainy season or what?
I think. Well, there's like a monsoon season or whatever. But when we were there, it rained for a day and a half. A day and a half, something like a day.
Not even.
Yeah, but it was enough to get when the ground gets wet. It gets really. It's not like here where it's dirt. The ground gets wet and then it just drains into the ground. Over there, the ground gets wet and it becomes like this thick, sticky
clay.
Mud.
Concrete.
Like a clay kind of thing, like sticky. Because it doesn't absorb completely. Like it takes very long because it's very dry and it's different minerals. It's not the same type of soil. So it doesn't go down. It's just kind of stay on the top, on the surface a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like literally like a clay, like you get all sticky.
The whole ground turns to clay, and then everything just gets dirty. Your clothes get dirty, your boots get dirty, the dog gets dirty, the cat gets dirty. The RV's filthy.
Oh, wow. Well, that's right, because you took with you your dogs, right? And cats also? That's
No,
correct?
Ash and I took our dogs, and then so we each had a dog per
Okay.
camp, I guess you could say.
And we brought these work boots that are blue that you can put over your shoes for the mud because we heard about it. And at one point, Kara clipped 2 of those in half, and then the dog was wearing these cute little blue boots.
Prevent mud from coming in.
Yeah. Actually, she was wearing Kara's socks at first. We had to tape socks to her feet.
Well, that's a different story.
We lost
But
a couple.
Here's the thing. So we came ultimately to help Larry and Anelia with this eviction. But imagine all this other fairy bait along the way, like hunting for crystals, morning hikes. We did like archaeological digs. We went shopping because actually really close by is Delta, which is a pretty developed area. In fact, it's more developed than where we live. So it feels like a real town, compared to where we live now. So every day was packed full of activities. And, at first it was like, oh, let's go hunt for fossils. And, oh, let's go hunt for crystals. And we were sort of just acclimating literally to the new weather and then waiting for the big day, which was Thursday, October 23rd, I think. And that was big moving day. But until then, we were having fun and
we rode
playing around.
We rode motorcycles
You guys-
up the mountain.
You guys should tell the motorcycle
Well,
story.
we had 2 electric motorcycles, one stronger than the other, and then Larry had inherited a brand new one that's even stronger than ours. So we had
I think he borrowed it. He
3
didn't
electric.
inherit it.
Well, Jay gave him a motorcycle, and so we had 3, and then so all 3 of us got to go like up on these kind of steep hills, looking for crystals. And when we got up to a far hill that they hadn't hiked before, we were just running over like all these crystals. There was one that was like, maybe as big as a pie plate. And it's like, look at this, yay!
Teo, that was your first time riding an electric bike, right? Electric motorcycle.
Yeah, like any bike.
Yeah.
They're all electric. And I fall a few times, but it was like very like the hills were very high, and
They were
when you were
soft,
looking,
sand.
just see very abrupt hill, and oops.
Yeah.
It was really cool, and a lot of crystals there, like you mentioned, like all over those hills.
It was better because later on, Larry wanted to go up another road that it wasn't sand and crystals like the moon. It was more volcanic rocks and sand. And we went up it, and we went up fast, and we kept going. And the dog was chasing us, and then she heard her pause because it was too rough for her. And then on the way back, I went off road, and I got back on the road. And when I got back on the road, I went over my handlebars onto like volcanic rocks. I bruised myself all up, and I'm still kind of hurt from that.
Yes. What was it? The second day, I think you flipped over your handlebars and rolled into rocks.
Yeah.
What? 20 miles an hour?
No, I was just going really slow. I was just going down a road,
Oh, that's good.
down a slope, and then onto a road, and my handlebars just turned, and I flipped over.
Oh, jeez.
But I'm too old for all that. And so everywhere I impacted the rocks, I got hurt.
Oh my gosh.
But it wasn't.
It could have been worse.
No, it was a good orchestration because it made it so that all the heavy lifting had to go to Teo. And then I had a hand brace so I could still do things, but I was not full male mode. I was more, softer. I could work all day, just not that strong.
But even before the eviction or the big day, there was a lot of cleaning. We did so much cleaning. Larry purchased this very old truck. What do you say? Like
Dump
Dump
truck?
truck.
dump
A
truck,
dump
a
truck.
dump truck.
Yeah.
It was very cool. Like it reminded me, the old days, like stick shift and everything. And we filled that truck with just one area in the land. Like we just were like moving everything. And one interesting part too is that as we were just cleaning all this trash, Karen and I, we were like, wait a minute, all this plastic, literally all the plastic, it was already decomposing. So those stories about, plastic takes forever, years to decompose, and no way. It was like you will pick up the bags and they will just like fall apart. containers, they will fall apart. So we were just very careful, just moving everything into the bags because you cannot pick it up. We were like, oh my God, all those agendas or things that they tell us is like not really true.
Right.
So, Ileana, the way you did it, you all went there with trash bags and you started to pull the trash inside the bags and then into the dump truck. That's how you did it?
Yeah.
Yes. So there was one particular area that it was, so it was like the trash area from that property, like from where they were camping or living in that area. So there was a lot of like baggage, garbage already, and all their other stuff that it was just on top. So there were many bags that we were trying to pick up to put it inside the bags, and they were just decomposing. They were just falling apart. So all the trash inside those bags, those plastic bags, they were just like garbage. So we have to kind of, with a big garbage bag, pull everything carefully because otherwise it will just be falling apart and flying. That day was very windy. So it was flying everywhere. All the little plastic particles, they were just flying away. And I think we have a video, like it was just amazing. But I remember Theo was like we trying to put the garbage into the truck, and it was so heavy, and it was like we just like couldn't land it, and Theo was just okay, boom, like the giant, like okay. I was like, okay, thank you, Theo. He was able to help and load the big things too. Like it was.
Yeah, but to clarify, this was the land that Larry and Anelia's RV was on, which is different than the land that had to be cleared.
Yeah.
And there was something called the castle, which is this big fortress made out of sandbags that the guy made to pretty much in 2020 to keep, he was going to be inside his fortress and be a prepper and keep people out. And so when he moved in there was like a lot of junk. There was a refrigerator and there was, just furniture, tires and all kinds of junk. And that was around, and Larry and Anelia couldn't do anything about that. But when he bought his dump truck, we were able to throw all of that stuff in the dump truck. So we cleaned up around the castle pretty good.
A lot of trash.
Yeah.
We also, Ileana, myself, and Anelia did like a cleansing, like a mystical cleansing of that structure. It's basically, and I think they talked about this in another podcast, but it's an earth ship made out of bags of the sand or the dirt in the area. Most of it's actually pretty sound. Some of it is not well done and has to be taken down. But Anelia made the point that because it's made out of sand, and from the sand from that land, it's all like it's full of crystals, basically. So we were cleansing that structure, knowing that it's crystals and that we were actually programming the crystals. So that was a really cool thing, but it was tough to do. Oh my gosh. Like we couldn't, to get the cleansing started, nothing was working. Anelia's like, I got this sage, and it was just, it's not good.
It was not burning, remember?
Sage. And then I'm like, oh, I brought sage, and Ileana brought sage, and we're like, okay, we'll just light our sage, because mystics, we don't travel without our sage, right? And also cleansing tools. But then we try to light our sage, and none of our sage is lighting either. We're like, maybe it's not your sage. So there was all these and then I think the lighter wasn't working, and there's just resistances, right? So we kept persevering and especially working together. I think that really helped. And also I brought over a portable speaker and was playing some of Anelia's music from AneliaRecords.com. And so it was like vibrating that frequency, and had it sitting on the structure. So everything was getting amplified with that energy. So once it started going, it went easily, but it just took a while to get there, to break through those resistances.
Ashley,
and there was another. Oh, okay. Sorry.
1 second, Ashley. When you said the resistances, like the lighter was not working and the sage you could not find, or what was the resistances to cleaning, or what was it?
I think it was the resistance, like what I was getting at the time was it's the resistance to like from the structure itself because of the energy that was built in and like holding, you know? And so it was resisting the shift of it. Like Fred said, it was kind of built almost like a fortress, right? So it was like built to like protect and be strong. And so it was being strong and it was protecting really well, but that's not what we wanted it for. That was my interpretation of it. Ileana, what was your perspective?
Yes, the same. It was the resistance of the whole energy that we were about to cleanse, because also Larry and Inelia, and maybe they can share about that later. They say that, like what the Ash mentioned about like this fortress and like people that were literally in other properties, like neighbors, they were thinking that these people have guns and we have to protect from this place where we were about to cleanse. So I think that was the thing, like that was the energy of like, we are here to blah, 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 whatever.
They perceived it like a bunker, you know, like a bunker. Military bunker. Yes. Like they're like, what are they creating over there? It's like a bunker, and they're gonna, you know. So people were scared of it. But then we cleansed it, and we turned it into a crystal castle.
Wow!
But it also Inelia, before we start doing the all the work, cleansing and everything, even to pick up trash, she say to focus on the gratitude, because it was a Gaia's request. And to focus, like anytime we pick up a piece of garbage, don't let this is disgusting or raciousness go through, or any emotions, but to just focus on the gratitude, just like gratitude as we cleansing the land and picking up the trash. So I think that was also very helpful for us not to go into, you know, our thoughts about the land or perspectives about what is it about or anything, but just
what were you doing with it? Why is this here? How, you know, all of that. Just like it was irrelevant. Yeah.
Irrelevant. Exactly.
Ashley, you before mentioned the crystals and reprogramming them, if I understood correctly. Like, what do you mean by this? Like, you put the new intentions? Was it or was it something different?
Yeah, well, we were cleansing it with sage. We had bells, we had rattles, we had things like that, right? So basically, we were focusing on joy, light, love, and just carrying that frequency and bringing that frequency into it, and cleansing anything else that wasn't it. It was letting it go. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So is there anything else that you feel like sharing before we go into the so-called big day, the eviction day?
Well, the night before, it was cool because it looked like they had piled up all this wood that could have been burned in a stove or something, but it was just wood, big hunks of it, and it's like 9 different piles. And at sunset, we lit every one of those things on fire. So it looked like 9 signal fires like all over the land. And then we went and stargazed in the middle of them. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, we turned it into a cleansing ceremony. We were hunting for fossils while the guys were doing the work. The girls went off to have fun. And then we come up and then there's just fire everywhere. We're like, well, the men have been busy. And then along the way, we learned that wild sage grows on the property. And so I think it was Anelio. Someone had the idea of, hey, why don't we take a bunch of sage and put it in the fire and add it to the cleansing, right? And so it was really beautiful. We harvested all this wild sage and, you know, just walked around and did a light ceremony to help again cleanse the land and release a lot of those energies and just burn away a lot of that stuff, literally.
Yeah. It was cool. We were walking up because we're seeing the fire, and like Kara said, we're like, you know, we've just been digging for fossils, and I was like, Anaya, is there something we can burn here? Like looking at the ground, because there are a lot of plants, although it's desert, it's very dry. I was like, is there something we can put in those fires and we can do cleansing like at this large scale with these massive fires? And then she knew that there was the sage there, and like it was like really like there's just wild sage everywhere. You know, I don't know
everywhere.
I don't know do you know the name of it? Which
Furry
type
stuff,
of
the little furry things. Oh.
It
Yeah.
only grows in that area. Like I'm from Colorado, and I'd never seen that that plant before.
And
It's
I had talked to
beautiful.
somebody locally there, and I think it was the day prior where I just mentioned to her like what we were doing, and she said, "Oh, you're in the area with like the sage bushes, right? Or sagebrush or something like that." I was like, "Maybe." Like I don't know.
Little fuzzy plants, they look like dreadlocks, like little white dreadlocks.
Yeah,
They were really
Just-
pretty flowers.
Yeah.
They
They're
were
quite
gorgeous.
pretty.
but there were tons of them that were dried out. So they were like perfectly ready to be tossed in a fire for
Yeah.
some cleansing.
But it felt kind of weird because we were up on the hill, and the next morning was the day that we were going to take the people's furniture out of their house by law. And it kind of felt like, the evening before battle with all the fires in camp and something. I don't know. It was just up there because we were up there on the hill, and of course they were all down there looking at us and wondering what the hell are all these fires?
Yeah.
Who knows what they were thinking on their side, but it was ominous.
It was pretty cool.
I
We took a lot of
yeah.
pictures.
I felt like it was really I don't know, it was just beautiful. And I know
Yes.
Anelli was talking to that energy too, because we're like, okay, so tomorrow we know what was coming, right? And we're asking her, is there anything that we should do in preparation for it? And she said, don't worry about the people, because the human collective is taking care of that. Like that's not, we don't even have to have any thought of them or focus on them. We're just doing the work of cleansing it, like clearing it out, clear out the items, and then allow the human collective to deal with the people, because I think it was easy in that space, in that environment, to get into the righteousness, to get into battle, to I know I felt that temptation plenty of times to be like, what the heck is wrong with these people, or whatever it might be, and then remembering that was really helpful. Just let the human collective deal with it. It's not our problem. Just focus on the work at hand for us. It was really cool.
And I think five of the 6 encampments that were down there were empty by the time that morning came. They were already gone. People had already dragged away what they could drag away. Yeah.
But let's not also forget all of the UFOs we saw.
Yes.
So a lot of the nights prior to the big day, we would go out sky watching. I mean, in fact, there was this really big meteor shower that was happening, and we saw a ton of meteors, and we were practicing calling in the UFOs, and we saw so many. It was so cool. So just imagine you can see a pristine sky with all those stars. And, I just want to try to express the fact that we had a lot of fun. We were expanding our awareness. We were just doing these really cool mystical things along the way. And I think that helped keep the frequency high, and also to the bigger picture as well.
Yeah. The sky is really clear there. You can see the Milky Way right in the middle of the whole thing.
Whatever the Milky Way is.
Well, whatever. what we call the Milky Way, it looks like, just a lot of fog going across the middle of the sky.
There was also something really interesting.
Mhm.
Okay. There's also something really interesting happening where I think for most of us, we were waking up every night at 3 a.m. Or I should say morning, I guess. But we're waking up at 3 a.m. and just wide awake. I was like, what the heck is that? And I'd wake up, I'm wide awake, and I'm like, okay, no, I'm going back to bed. I'm going back to bed. Let's go back to bed, And then sometimes I would just get up. I'm like, fine, okay, I'm awake. And I'd start doing something, But it was so interesting. I'm like, I felt to me like it was definitely related to this conversation of UFOs and maybe larger Earth or whatever you would call extraterrestrials, right? But I don't personally have clear recollection of anything happening. I just know it was consistent and kept happening. And every time I checked with other people, they're like, oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So you were all just waking up in the morning around 3 a.m.?
Yep,
Yeah.
all of us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Wow.
At one point I was because I think it was one night Ileana and I were like, okay, we're gonna stay out. We're gonna call them. We're gonna see, and then we're like, oh, okay, it's cold. And we're gonna go to bed. And then woke up at 3 a.m. I had this strong feeling of like, oh man, they're here. But I don't want to get out of bed. It's cold and it's
It was
late
cold.
and I'm comfy and I don't want to leave. So yeah, a little bit of firewalls there too. But it felt like there was definitely an opportunity for a really big encounter.
Trailers
So
are
with
called
your physical eyes, you could see lights, right? That
Yes, with our physical eyes, we saw tons of UFOs, like every
of
night.
UFOs.
And not
But-
just satellites, like literally like 90-degree turns going up and out and disappearing, no clouds, like lots and lots of things like that.
And then we
Mm.
would sit there, we're like, oh, let's call in something to come really close to us. Let's, let's connect. And then like we would do it. And then all of a sudden everyone's like, okay, I'm going to bed. Bye.
Yes. Falling asleep, and like, oh, okay, time to
Like, we
go.
dispersed. One thing that I also thought was interesting is on the trip out, we all listened to Team Whisper and like the audiobook by Anelia. And so we all listened to it. And in part of it, Squirrel has this experience where he's going up into the ship every night. And then him, along with all his like companions, wake up every morning before dawn consistently. And it's like the way I've interpreted it, it's like they wake up when they come back. And so I was like, is that what's happening to us? Because we all listened to that, and that part stuck out to me because I didn't really pay attention to it before when I read this book before, but that part stuck out to me. And then we had the same experience where we're all waking up at 3 a.m. So I'm like, must be going up on a ship. And I'm like, kind of, checking, like, do I have bruises? Is there anything that like is unusual? But I couldn't pinpoint anything.
Theo, did you observe anything?
Well, it's the same experience every morning at 3 a.m. I had the good niggle to take how are they
Your
called?
pants, pajamas,
Yeah, but it's not pajamas. It's like everyday
Sweatpants?
Sweatpants, yeah. And
make sure you had your sweatpants on.
yeah, when I'm going on because it was cold in the night, and it was the same thing that you referred about the Team Whisper book. It came up the same scene when Square it's like using that machine to forget every time. And I'm saying, why are we forgetting?
I want to remember.
Yeah, I want to remember.
They bring the machine to forget or to remember and to forget. And he's like, no, I don't need the one to forget. I just want to remember. And then he comes back and he's like, something's wrong with my roof. I think it's going to blow off. Because he keeps it like going anyway. Yeah, it's hilarious. But
So in the end, you didn't call a UFO or have that experience like being out and call and on purpose have a UFO coming closer maybe or something.
I think we might have, but I think we all chose to forget it.
And
And
Oh.
why? I don't know exactly. Like the various reasons I think of what that orchestration could be, but yeah. Team Whisper
It's
helps
fun.
kind of explain a little bit why we might want to forget.
and another thing, a lot of helicopters were there in the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. We had a lot of fun, I think, along the way. Okay,
Yes,
are we ready?
I can hear you. Are we ready to go into the big day and the eviction day and what that meant and how things evolved and, well, everything that implied and the mystical work that was done?
I think so. It actually starts at 3 a.m., surprisingly.
Yes.
So it was the big day, Thursday day, and we wake up at 3 a.m. and we hear it starting to rain. And at first, we've heard like about all the rain stories from Larry and even saw some of the videos of like Tiny, his poor dog, trying to walk in the mud. And he's just got like mud like 5-6 inches deep, like paws. And we're like, oh no, oh gosh, it's raining. What are we going to do? Right? Here's the thing though. Not only did the rain ultimately help us out so much. It was a full orchestration from Gaia. We didn't realize it at the time, but later we realized that it cooled off the environment a lot. We had perfect cloud coverage so that we could haul stuff out and not die of the heat and sweat and all that nastiness. There were also flies everywhere and it stunk really bad. Think like raw sewage. But because it had rained just a little bit where we were, it was all like softened. The dust had settled and it wasn't stinky and the temperature was perfect.
It wasn't dusty.
Yeah. So like even before
It was washing everything as we were taking it out. Yeah.
exactly. So even before we had started, like Gaia set us up for success. And it's one of those validations of knowing that Gaia's got your back, right? Like we were here to support this intent for whatever reason. The human collective and Gaia want this land cleansed and pristine again. And that's what we were here to support. That was really the whole intention behind this eviction. I mean, yes, the legal matter is what helped facilitate it. That was the believable story, but ultimately that was the goal, right? But from the beginning, like we could feel that support from Gaia, which was amazing.
Join us for the rest of this conversation at driveintotheres.com.
And when you go to driveintotheres.com and you join in the rest of the show, rest of the second hour, you also get to join in the after party. 9:00 on Fridays, we all get together, including you.
And that's what all of this work is about. That's what stepping in the new paradigm is about, is letting go and getting rid of that garbage. And
it was a great visual.
It was.
Because every time I think about that, I'm like, yeah, I'm reflecting that bunch of garbage. And getting rid of it has been, that's been a pursuit like for how many decades of my life. And it's not easy because, there's the darkness has ways to make it so that that garbage sticks to you. And you think, you tend to believe that you are that garbage. Like you get brainwashed into it. And so letting it go is first you have to, you have to realize that you aren't the garbage. Then you have to realize that, okay, the garbage is not permanent. It can be left. And then you have to get tools to clean out the garbage.